Hi guys. So today we'll be discussing natural ventilation techniques to minimize the requirements for artificial air conditioning. Before we get into the topic, let me just introduce you to this field of RAC, that is refrigeration and air conditioning. Most of us would be familiar with the work of an RAC engineer to be mainly to design and construct refrigerators and air conditioners. However, there is much more to this field than just that. For example, an RAC engineer is required to ensure that certain temperature and humidity conditions are met for different applications. Let's think of a lab, for example, a biology lab or something. So in that case, a specific temperature and humidity is required to maybe culture bacteria, perform certain chemical reactions, or maybe a chemical industry where a chemical reaction requires certain temperature and humidity conditions. So all this work is undertaken by an RAC engineer. And today we will see how these professionals are used play an important role in our domestic lifestyles. So, for example, a building is not just constructed by an architect and a civil engineer, whereas an engineer from this field, the refrigeration and air conditioning, also plays an important role. Here are a few techniques for natural ventilation to minimize requirements. Before that, let's discuss what phenomena are caused by natural that drive the process of natural ventilation. Basically, what is ventilation? Ventilation is basically the
Okay.
so let's explore what is ventilation. Ventilation is basically the process of introducing fresh outside air into a space. So this can have various implications. It has various requirements, which we shall soon explore. What are the difference between natural ventilation versus mechanical cooling? Basically, natural ventilation, as we all know, is like you open windows, you let air flow enter a space, right? You depend on the outside environment to achieve certain temperature and humidity requirements. Whereas in case of mechanical cooling, you use instruments such as the air conditioner to control artificially the temperature and the humidity. So these two are completely different processes, each having certain advantages and disadvantages. Today we shall be discussing the advantages of natural ventilation. But before that, let's see why mechanical air conditioning is detrimental in certain aspects. So as you can see over here, the cost of operation is very high. So this number that you see here, 53,136 per month, it's basically how much the electricity bill would be for an office building that probably requires 20 air conditioners. So a simple calculation would give us this value, right? So this is a very high amount, and which company wouldn't think of cutting down such high costs, right? So just to give an estimate, this is how high the cost of operation is, especially in the commercial space. Apart from that, we have regular repair and maintenance. You know that these are mechanical instruments. They are prone to falling. They are prone to regular maintenance and repairing, and that also incurs certain costs. Some of the more subtle implications of mechanical air cooling is that it causes temperature rise. So the process of refrigeration involves releasing heat to a higher temperature body. So in our case, the atmosphere. So basically, we are going to release heat to an already hot environment that will cause further temperature rise. This also causes the more dreaded global warming phenomenon. HCFC release. So HCFCs are basically hydrochlorofluorocarbons. They have what is known as a high global warming potential, or GWP. This has several implications to the environment. We know how climate change is becoming a crisis day by day, and this mechanical cooling plays a big role in that. So in the near future, we will see substitution of these HCFCs for maybe different refrigerants or maybe an entirely different process altogether. However, at this moment, HCFC release uh, adds a lot to global warming. Apart from that, there are certain indirect consequences of mechanical cooling, such as the manufacturing processes. Like we know, air conditioners use some kind of plastic, and manufacturing or extracting this plastic is harmful to the environment. And there are certain cases of allergy that are reported due to the processes involved with mechanical cooling. So, all said and done, natural ventilation is not the best solution in all cases. There are a few drawbacks for natural ventilation also, which we shall be seeing right now. It depends on the outside environment. So it's not applicable in all scenarios in every case that we can use natural ventilation, because in cases where there's extreme temperature of the environment, we cannot really exploit this phenomenon because it does us no good. Apart from that, there's noise pollution. So say for example, in an ICU, uh, there's almost no chance you can rely on natural ventilation, for example, because the patients are in poor health conditions and they cannot afford to be exposed to outside pollution in terms of noise or air pollution. So these are certain cases, or maybe even labs, for example, as I mentioned here. So there are requirements. There are certain scenarios where mechanical cooling does serve our purposes, but as much as possible, we shall try to stick to natural ventilation for its larger number of advantages. The World Health Organization estimates that 30% of all buildings suffer from sick building syndrome. This is due to improper indoor air quality and ventilation and treatment. So basically, due to poor ventilation or design strategies, about 30% of buildings suffer from this sick building syndrome. So this causes a poor air quality inside, and that kind of indirectly impacts the health and the productivity of the individuals working inside. So this is a big amount, 30%.
So related to that,
Moving on.
there was another
Yeah.
video in which we have shown how different structural designs of your residence or commercial buildings will affect. How are the windows placed? How are the fenestrations? What are the locations of windows? What are the size of windows? And how your chimneys should be designed. So there was video related to that also. And just to add a point, the hydrochlorofluorocarbons, which my friend mentioned earlier, so those were having a very high ozone depletion potentials and global warming potential. So the refrigerants containing the fluorine, chlorine, bromine, the chlorine and bromine are having very high ozone depletion potentials, and they were banned because of some myths which happened few years back. And in today's refrigerants, we will probably not find any refrigerant which will contain this chlorine or bromine. And because of those, we have a recent news that the ozone hole, the size of the ozone hole is becomes smaller, and we are recovering from the ozone potential problems. So I think that's what I wanted to add. My friend can continue.
Right. In fact, those two protocols were the Montreal and Kyoto protocol, where CFCs were banned. And it's believed that by 2030, there will be a ban on these HCFCs also. So thank you, Dan, for that. Moving on, what causes natural ventilation? There are two driving phenomena that causes natural ventilation: the stack and the wind effect. So the stack effect, as we all are familiar in simple terms, is like the buoyancy effect, right? Where hot air rises and cold air rushes to take its place. So that phenomena is exploited by engineers to establish a series of currents within a building or a space to ensure thermal comfort for its residents. So as you can see in this image here, uh, through the attic there are openings or fenestrations where warm air can rise and escape, and through openings at the bottom, maybe doors or windows, cool air can rush to take its place. So this ensures a comfortable thermal environment indoors. The other one is the wind effect. Basically, it's caused by pressure differences that are formed due to moving air. So as you can see, in case of a skyscraper that blocks wind flow, the windward side of it uh, causes a high pressure region, whereas the leeward side of it causes a low pressure region. This phenomena is used again by engineers to ensure the good ventilation inside the building space. So this can be done by opening maybe windows or allowing the air to pass through the entire building so that there's a lot of ventilation and fresh air is introduced regularly into the space. So these are the main two driving factors which are exploited by engineers. What does the ideal air conditioning system look like? So we've used the stack effect and the wind effect and made our design accordingly. And of course, we have to depend a little upon the mechanical systems as well. There's no escaping that. So using these three in proportionate quantities can allow a well ventilated space. So here's an image to illustrate that. These are the thermal boundary layers that are caused because of each phenomena.